Fantasy Dudes podcast with your hosts, Jonathan and Jake.
All right, Jake and Jonathan back again at Those Fantasy Dudes, the new podcast where we're going to be talking about our keeper, dynasty, and redraft leagues on a weekly basis. Jake, welcome back. What's going on?
What's up? I had my first person reach out to ask about fantasy advice. I plugged our podcast and we got a new subscriber.
That's a start, one at a time,
That's right.
We got to hold those subscribers close because, that means a lot.
If I just do that 500,000 more times.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. We want to have a personal connections with every single one of you guys. Anyways, yeah, welcome back. You can check us out on Instagram at Those Fantasy Dudes, Facebook at Those Fantasy Dudes. We just built a website, thosefantasydudespodcast.com. We are going to have a weekly mailbox section on the show, so you can send us start and sit questions, trade questions, honestly, anything related to fantasy football. You can use the contact page on the website or send us a message at thosefantasydudes@gmail.com. We're also on a bunch of different podcast platforms, so check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, CastBox, Reason, and Anchor, which is our host platform. If you are starting a podcast, I'd highly recommend Anchor. Very, very useful, very easy to use so far. Yeah, Jake, why don't we just dive right into our Dynasty Draft?
Oh, let's draft our Dynasty.
Yeah.
All
Shall
right.
we? Why don't we go over your team first?
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with my team. I think I've got a good mix of some pieces that are ready to develop, but I've got a really solid next 3 to 5 years, because I've got I'm pretty happy with that. So this is my starting lineup. Joe Burrow, I got him in the 10th round, and he might have blown out his entire knee and have a terrible offensive line this year, but they've shown that they want to build around him and they believe in him. They're bringing in dudes that he says, I want these guys on my team. Thaddeus Moss, and he's got T. Higgins, he's got Jamar Chase. And
on the bright side, 3 fresh ligaments.
That's true.
You got to think about it that way. They're not aged ligaments that have gone through the ringer for the last 23 years. These are brand new.
Yeah, those are 24-year-old ligaments. Time to get those out of there. Got to get those out.
Yeah, everybody should get new ligaments. Get
your old ligaments out, put new ones in. That's what Joe Burrow is doing, and I believe in new ligament Joe Burrow. So I was pretty happy with that for a 10th round pick. The other people going around there do not have the upside that Joe Burrow does. This time last year, people were talking about him as a top 5 dynasty option. So he's not the scramble guy. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not,
No, he's a point and shoot kind of guy. He can run a little bit though.
Yeah, no, he's mobile. He's somewhere in between a mobile quarterback and Tom Brady, He's somewhere in between that. As I think a lot of the newer NFL quarterbacks are. But I'm not worried about it. I think they clearly didn't address their O-line this year. So I guess all I can do is hope that they do in the future. And, I still believe in the talent of Joe Burrow. I mean, he's a national champion.
I think Joe Burrow's a great pick. I think in hindsight, Chase was not the best pick on Cincinnati's part, especially
you're telling me getting the generational offensive lineman in Sewell was a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that might have been a bad call. I think they were just trying to, play nice with Joe Burrow and get him a weapon, but he already had weapons. Like Tyler Boyd and Higgins are great. He's got Joe Mixon. They could have gotten like Corey Davis or something off waivers. They didn't need to spend that first round pick on Jamar Chase, who hasn't played in 2 years. But, it is what it is. I hope he pans out. I don't think he's going to be that useful for his value, at least this year. In terms of your pick, Joe Burrow, I hope that pans out. Well, I don't hope. I hope he sucks. But
right.
I think it is a pretty good pick for the value you got him at.
Right. Yeah.
Joe Burrow,
yeah.
So.
I hope every player you have sucks, but I do recognize value. But and then my running backs were a little light. Because
in light of recent news,
Travis Etienne is out for the season, and I picked up James Robinson in my draft. So I've got Jonathan Taylor and James Robinson, a couple of younger guys that I think are going to have huge seasons. And now you find out why my running backs are so weak because I've got Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb, and Kenny Golladay as my starting 5 wide receivers.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's pretty nuts to have Kenny Golladay as... I mean, Kenny Golladay is who I consider my wide receiver 5. I got him last. I got him in the 6th round. And, I mean, come on. You know, those guys, every one of those guys has upside. I would say Kenny G's got the lowest upside, and even he's still, probably going to be a wide receiver too if he's consistent.
3 really young guys who could very well be top 15 wide receivers this year.
I truly think CeeDee Lamb is going to. I think by the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to be talking about CeeDee Lamb as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's got that level of talent.
He's got that kind of swagger. That's for damn sure. Have you seen Hard Knocks? Dude,
no, I haven't watched any Hard Knocks yet. I haven't been home,
smile.
so I haven't watched any. Yeah, dude, I did. Did you see during the draft when his girlfriend was like doing something, like trying to look at his phone or something, and he like snatches it out of her hand?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a few on the side. He's CeeDee Lamb.
It was just pretty funny because it was like, wow, all right, like you're not even in the NFL yet, and you're already going through that. But so yeah, I got all those guys. My tight ends are weak. I thought they were great, but Adam Troutman expected to be out 1 to 3 weeks. That's not great to start off the season.
He's still gonna go see a specialist, so it could get worse. Is my assumption.
Right? Yeah. But either way, I mean, I'm not going to drop him. I still believe in him. I don't think they would have gotten rid of Cook. And
I actually did drop him in my my Yahoo Winners League because I had him as my 1 tight end, and I didn't see it worth taking up a roster spot. I ended up picking up Logan Thomas instead. So
yeah, I
don't think anyone's going to grab him anyway.
I got Blake Jarwin and Gerald Everett as well. Both
reasonably good,
solid. Yeah,
I
mean, here's the thing. If you don't get a top option, you don't go mid-round. You don't just take whatever is available. That's how you end up with a terrible tight end that you paid too much for. Because there are people taking tight ends at the same time I took Kenny Golladay. And you know what? They got Mike Gesicki, who, I could eat my words this season. Mike Gesicki could be great. But I don't think he's going to be, equivalent to having Kenny G. That's all I'm saying.
Also, if you're in our league, people are taking kickers in the 8th round.
That's true.
I don't know about your leagues out there, but we have a couple dumbasses in our league taking even backup kickers. But with that being said, I still wouldn't take Noah Fant or Drew Goddard in the 7th or 8th round. I would go for Kenny Golladay.
So as far as what I'm looking at for the future on my team, I've got some guys that I'm pretty excited about. I've got Zach Wilson and I've got Elijah Moore, 2 guys I've believed in since before they were drafted. I liked both of them. Was excited to see where they went, and they went to the Jets. So that wasn't.
We knew Zach Wilson was going to the Jets at the very least. We didn't know Elijah Moore was going to go to the Jets. We did know.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good suspicion that it was going to be Zach Wilson, but I mean, for a while there, you didn't know who was who in that draft. I mean, you knew who was going 1-1. You knew that obviously, but there's 4 or 5 other guys that were really solid that you didn't know, and I mean, Zach Wilson happened to show up right before the season, and people loved him. So yeah, I'm excited about that possible stack because if that goes the way I think it's going, that could be enormously dominant.
They could be good. They really could. And 3 to 4 years from now, dude, with the Jets, that division could be very, very competitive. I think with the Bills, with Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, and maybe once Stephon Diggs gets older, but that's going to be a very competitive team. And then the Dolphins are pretty good. I hate that I'm not mentioning the Patriots here, but who knows? Maybe the Jets could actually compete in 3 or 4 years. I hope I eat my words because fuck the Jets, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be good. I think Robert Saleh is a great coach, and he's coming from a good system that has provided fantasy relevance before. So I believe in it.
Jake loves the Jets. You heard it here.
You know what? I'll say it. I'll say I love the Jets in a fantasy context. Gross. I love the Jets. That's pretty much the exciting pieces I've got on my team to talk about. I've got some pieces that, I thought maybe backups that might be helpful. I think Samaje Perine is going to be very helpful this year. He's the backup in Cincinnati. I got Alexander Madison. That was primarily to snipe him from Dane. But
Yep.
who is the Dalvin Cook owner of our league. That's pretty much the guys I'm very excited
You got
about.
Trey Sermon in there. I think Trey
Trey
Sermon, DJ
yeah.
Dallas, even some
Those
good
guys,
depth pieces.
I think Trey Sermon's all those guys in San Francisco. Those guys could be gone next year. I believe Raheem Mostert's on his last year, and Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson's, I think, slated to be leaving.
Knowing Kyle Shanahan, I mean, he's probably going to bring in 3 or 4 more guys to eat up targets and carries, but I do think Trey Sermon is going to be useful toward the end of the year because Mostert inevitably will get hurt. He's already hurt right now. So, it's a useful depth piece in terms of your team because you don't have a lot of running back depth.
If
this
things
year.
fall my way, I could have a great piece. So
exactly. I was going for him and I wasn't able to grab him. So I do think that's a great pick. Cool. I think we might as well. You want to dive into my team, Jake, or do you want to maybe leave the room for this one?
No.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about my team. In the first round, I had the 10th overall pick. I wanted Zeke, and I was considering taking Justin Jefferson for the longest time. I think he didn't even go in the first round, from what I remember. I think I passed on him. And ended up taking Aaron Jones, which, I do like Aaron Jones quite a bit. I don't love Aaron Jones, but I do think he's going to be pretty fantasy relevant for the next 2 years. I also got his backup, A.J. Dillon, which during the draft, I didn't even do that with the thought of taking a handcuff for Aaron Jones. I was just like, I'll grab A.J. Dillon. Totally forgot I had Aaron Jones until a few days later. I was like, oh, yeah, that actually works out really good. I mean, I like Aaron Jones, Jake. I think he's pretty good.
I'm big on Aaron Jones. He broke my heart and took my first possible championship for me. But
yeah, I hope he breaks your heart again this year, many times over.
Yeah, well, actually, last year I traded for him, and he only won me 1 week, but it was a week that I really needed. So, tumultuous relationship with Aaron Jones. But I believe in the thighs of A.J. Dillon in the future. I think what's going to happen is Rodgers and Devontae Adams are going to be gone in the next 2 years, and that's really going to force Aaron Jones' hand because he's going to want to go somewhere, get a bag before he retires, and I mean, he already kind of did.
I don't know if that's in the cards. I don't know if it's in the cards for him to get another bag of money from another team.
Malcolm Brown is currently an operating running back. I don't know if you knew that. Malcolm Brown still plays football.
I'm aware of that. I just don't think he's going to go get a 3-year, $65 million deal.
Jobs. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get another massive deal. But I'm still saying, I guarantee. Look at Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's still getting money. He got like $10 million. That's what I think is going to happen because I think he's going to be like, well, I'm not going to unless they pay him up. But why would they pay him up? Have you seen Kylan Hill? They've got A.J. Dillon waiting in the wings, and then they've got Kylan Hill, who's also fantastic behind him. So
yeah, I was really surprised he even stayed with the Packers. To be honest, I bet it was Aaron Rodgers.
I think Aaron Jones
happened.
Is a great pick, especially if you get A.J. Dillon, because I think you're locking down another RB1. I think A.J. Dillon, as soon as he's given the work, is an RB1. If you look at last season, whenever he was given a big snap count, he was really getting it.
They did lose. I think their offensive line actually got slightly worse. They lost. I don't remember his name, but he was one of, if not the best center in the league. But that might hurt him a little bit. But I think for the most part, the Packers are going to be Super Bowl contenders until Tom Brady inevitably beats them in the playoffs. My other running back, I got Najee Harris in the second round, which I absolutely love Najee Harris. I think he's going to be honestly insane going into the next couple of years. In Pittsburgh, he's going to be a 3-down back. He can catch the ball. They've already been using him in the preseason quite a bit. Big Ben isn't as mobile as he used to be. He's going to give it to Najee Harris. He's going to dump it off to him when the pocket collapses. Honestly, I think I was looking at Najee Harris as a guy that, yes, he's going to help me get through the next couple of years as a top-tier running back, but I think he could help me contend this year as well. I really do. I
want to hate that pick so bad. I just want to hate it.
But it's a great pick.
He was just I hate it because he was never going to get to me. Najee Harris was never going to make it back to me. I would have had to take him with my first overall, and I couldn't.
And almost all my mocks, I was taking Najee in the second round.
I love that pick. I really it's tough to say anything bad about it. I mean, he's expected to be dominant. Steelers will give their running backs the work, and yeah, there's nothing bad to say.
He hasn't done anything to make you think otherwise. I mean, he comes from a great offense.
The only thing I hear is
Alabama
is his breakaway speed, and who cares? That's all I got to say is who cares, dude? There's plenty of really incredible running backs that weren't the fastest guy, but they were really physical and they were good. And you know who's really physical and good? Najee Harris. He's 6'2", 230. That is beefy.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
That's beefy.
Those were my first 2 picks. I had the very tough decision. I basically, since it was a late 3rd round pick, the 310, I was between grabbing a top tier wide receiver, a guy like David Montgomery, or Darren Waller or Kyle Pitts. I went with the dynasty approach. I took the risk. I grabbed Kyle Pitts, which maybe a little bit early, but I mean, he was drafted in the first 5 picks of the NFL draft. It's the highest drafted tight end ever.
I guess you look at Gronk, even Gronk and Hernandez, they were values. I can't think of...
Tony Gonzalez was drafted that high. Hawkinson was drafted in the first 10 picks.
Yes, okay. I knew Hawkinson
ago.
Was high. And Evan Ingram was high as well.
But yeah, Kyle Pitts by far, I think he was drafted 5th overall or 6th. I don't remember where the Falcons had it, but it's actually crazy because you just don't. He's just a talent, man. He really is.
6'6", 240. That's
he's going to be an insane target for Matt Ryan, who's going to throw the ball like 500 times this season, bare minimum. It's going to be crazy. Yes, there's other people on that team there really isn't though. There's Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. Kyle Pitts is going to be the second target, if not the first, on that team over the next 5 years. So I'm excited. I don't expect him to be the best tight end this year, the number 1 best tight end season of all time, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had it. I think I really couldn't pass him up.
Because it's a dynasty, I agree. In redraft, that's what I'm telling people is, look, to draft Kyle Pitts, what you have to say to me right now is I believe Kyle Pitts is going to have the best rookie season of a tight end of all time by a wide margin to make him worth his draft price. That's what you have to contest with. That's what you have to be able to agree with to draft him in redraft, or understand that you're going to not get the value that you could have gotten at a different position. Especially considering you can get Waller right where he is anywhere. So,
and you know for a fact Waller's going to be the number 1 target on that team right now. So
big time, yeah.
That really was the dilemma that I had. I really wasn't sure, but I just think the hype of Kyle Pitts, I've been hyping him up for a long time now. He was there. I had to take him, Kyle Pitts. But yeah, in terms of wide receivers, I got Chris Godwin in the 4th, and we got Chase Claypool as well, which Godwin's going to get a lot of targets this year. Yes, there's a lot of other people on that team that are going to take them, but if he's healthy, Tom Brady is going to target Chris Godwin all the time. You know, I really do think that he's going to be awesome again this year.
Here's what I'm going to say. About Chris Godwin. Typically, when there's 3 wide receivers, it's one person you want to start. That's the problem. And I mean, that's
your guy, Mike Evans.
Yeah, I started Mike Evans. But here's the thing: my Mike Evans is 1,000-yard every season since he's been in the NFL. So that's what I got him for. I got him for the floor. And that's all.
This is also full PPR, and
right?
Mike Evans is less of a volume guy. Like he's going to get the big targets, the long targets, and the end zone targets. But Chris Godwin is going to get a lot of catches.
Hey, who is throwing him the ball?
Tom Brady.
Is he a big throwing guy?
He likes to throw the football.
Yeah, I think Mike Evans will be okay. I
think they're both going to be fine.
Yeah, I think the only one you have to talk about is who's going to be the third guy. Somebody on that offense is gonna have some games, and who is it gonna be? I think Antonio Brown's a great pickup this year.
Chris Godwin, Chase Claypool. We also got Darnell Mooney as a late round pick.
Oh man,
I've gotten him in every draft so far. I'm still gonna try to get him in our redraft league, but I am so high on Darnell Mooney. I actually named my team after him, A Trip to the Mooney, which is a really old film, and we also talk about movies on my other podcast, Those Movie Dudes. So I thought that'd be a cute little pun. Don't you think, Jake?
No.
He's pissed because I have him. He likes the pun, though.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's a great pun. I thought of it, didn't even Google that. I was just like, wait a second.
Yeah, that's a really good pun. He's also incredible, dude. I mean, he's in an offense where I think if they let Justin Fields sling it and play with Allen Robinson, I think Allen Robinson wants to stay. I think he's just so tired of having shitty quarterback play and didn't want to waste his entire life in Chicago. So I think if they let Justin Fields get out there and they actually make it fun for Allen Robinson again, he's going to stay there. So then you tack Darnell Mooney, who's a field stretcher, onto that team, and he's getting the second coverage because first coverage is on Allen Robinson. I just think it's amazing.
He could have not a Justin Jefferson like season, but in terms of the scenario that he's going to be going up against with Allen Robinson getting double coverage and stuff, because he's an insane PPR target, Allen Robinson. If they can't throw the ball to him because he's double covered, Mooney is going to get a shit ton of balls.
That's what I'm saying, and he's the right kind of player to be that guy. He's Allen Robinson's going to be getting double covered 20 yards down the field, and Darnell Mooney is going to be even farther past his guy with separation. So, I mean, you can go watch highlights from last year. All the time it's just overthrow, underthrow, just out of reach, just under, it's
give it a couple games and they're going to put Justin Fields in the game.
The thing is, Andy Dalton,
maybe 1 or 2 weeks.
Andy Dalton's still not that bad. Andy Dalton still provided huge fantasy relevance to AJ Green. So I think regardless, he's fantastic. I am genuinely pissed that I don't have him on my team for Dynasty. Redraft, whatever. I can probably get him at another point in one of my redraft leagues. I'll get to ride the Mooney sometime. But
you never know. But there's only 2 other picks that I'm actually really hyped about. I did actually get Antonio Brown as well to have that Tom Brady, and I have Tom Brady. Got him late, which I think will help me get through this season. But the real reason I wanted to get Tom Brady was to get me through the first couple weeks, because I got Trey Lance in the 8th or 9th round, and
Boo.
That's kind of I know. Another thing Jake's kind of pissed about. He stole him from me in the keeper draft, but I think it's more important to have him in Dynasty. I genuinely think Trey Lance could be a fantasy juggernaut. So,
man, you're gonna be so upset if he blows up and I win the keeper league.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I
can't predict.
It's going to be hard to win both leagues in a given year, but yeah, I'm pretty hyped on Trey Lance. Can't go wrong. I mean, maybe you can. He's a rookie. You don't know anything. He only played 16 games in college. So, but it's not necessarily a shot in the dark, but I think it's a shot worth taking, because Tom Brady's going to get me through this year and probably next year as well. He doesn't age. He gets better. It's fucking insanity. So I got that stack with him and Chris Godwin, and I got Trey Lance, and even Cam Newton is my 3rd quarterback on my roster, who he might not even play this year.
Yeah,
with the hype on Mac Jones right now.
Cam Newton seems like a wasted pick, man. I don't know. I could eat my words this season, but I don't see it being anything bigger. I can't believe you're not talking about Devonta Smith.
I was going to get to him.
The Slim Reaper's hasn't even gotten a mention yet. You mentioned Darnell Mooney.
That's because we got a lot of great players on my team, unlike yours. I think
that's not true. You go look at my team. You know it's good. You know my team.
I know it's good, but I think I have a lot of players that we don't know yet. You know what I mean? A lot of players on your team, we know that they're already good. But with my team, it's like Kyle Pitts, Devonta Smith, Najee Harris, Trey Lance. It's more exciting.
I mean, even Chase Claypool. We know Chase Claypool is good, but we don't know if Chase Claypool will be. Man, I think he really could be insane.
I hope Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts go off. I hope that Jalen Hurts actually ends up being good.
I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I got to be honest.
But we did 2 months ago. What happened? What did he do to prove us wrong? I don't understand.
He did nothing. That's the thing.
Then what is the problem? I was taking him at all my mocks, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, Jalen Hurts.
He's done nothing notable. That's what's happened.
I guess.
He's done nothing notable. He's done nothing where I'm interested. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see this season.
He's probably on the worst team in. Well, I would say the Giants are probably the worst in the NFC East, but the Eagles are going to be bad. So that could mean good for Devonta Smith, because he was shining in preseason.
Well, that's your team looks pretty solid. I'm pretty happy. I'd be pretty happy with that. I know you are.
I'm very happy with it. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
I did a lot of research, a lot of time.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time on these. That's the thing, dude. Some of these other teams in here.
Yeah, actually, I want to take a look at who we can make fun of here.
Well, I don't want to be too mean, but some of these teams I did not. There's this saying where you say, "Well, you clearly didn't understand the assignment." And
we're going back to high school right now.
There's a few teams like that where it's no, these teams are unbelievable right now.
Sure.
Let me read off.
And that's
this
a
one.
strategy to take. That's why we have rookie drafts.
You should a 2 to 3 year window, but some of these guys, I don't know. I would say 2 to 3 game window. But Josh Allen, Mike Davis, Leonard Fournette, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, Travis Kelce, Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones, and Sanders. And then notable bench pieces, Devin Singletary, James Conner. Tyler Boyd. Ramondre Stevens is a good pick. Emmanuel Sanders this year. And that's about it.
That's about it, yeah.
But that's a win now team. That's this year. I mean, he could very well win this year.
It's a win now team, but it's also and this isn't really a knock, but it's not like a flashy win now team. Yes, Devontae Adams, yes, Travis Kelce, but Mike Davis, Leonard Fournette, Josh Allen are like the most boring win now players you could have on your team. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Not that doesn't mean he's not going to win games. It's just Mike Davis.
Yeah,
Ugh.
the Mike
No,
Davis
thank you.
pick, really. Yeah, that's no thank you.
Yeah, no thank you.
No thank you. Yeah.
No, but I could see Pats to the Moon being 9th or 10th this year.
Yeah.
I don't see that's going to pan out, but you
I
never
don't know.
I mean,
I really see him as a playoff team. I think he's a playoff team, and then I think he's going to fall off really fast unless his draft picks somehow hit.
you know who's got a nice win now team is show me your TDs. Kwesi Vashon. He's got Dak Prescott, McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Pittman, Keenan Allen, Kittle, Chase Edmonds.
Here's the thing.
Considering health,
I
think
hate
that
his
could
team.
be pretty good.
I wouldn't. There's very few guys on here that I would draft.
I know, but I would draft a lot of these guys.
I would draft Henry Ruggs. I don't like Keenan Allen. I like Michael Pittman. Hate Mixon. McCaffrey, obviously. Yeah, I mean,
I like Mixon personally. This year,
I think you're gonna eat your words, and he's gonna get injured real fast.
well, but we can't factor that in. Yes, he probably will. You could say that about every player. McCaffrey, you could say that about, and if he's healthy, Mixon is going to be awesome.
You're right. No, I agree. That's the thing. You can't. I mean, normally you can't factor in injuries, but you can in Dynasty. Really, I mean, you're always banking on 1 year in redraft, so you gotta kind of get rid of the injury scare. But in Dynasty, you have to. You can't. I don't want a guy that's been, really injured and is also going to be, 26 here soon.
And that's why, I think moving on to possibly a little bit of advice, and maybe an advice segment here if you have a Dynasty draft coming up, balance is key. And I think that goes with a lot of life lessons, but especially in Dynasty, you want your team to win now, you want your team to win later. So, I mean, that's why I went with people like Aaron Jones, and then, I got Najee Harris in there as well,
Yeah, and it's, you want to understand the value of what you're getting. I don't like Kenny Golladay, but I don't like Kenny Golladay for a 4th round pick. I love Kenny Golladay for a 6th round. Sure. That's
exactly.
great.
Values everything.
I mean, he dropped so much farther than he would have. I mean, if he was still with Matt Stafford, he would still be a pretty top option. There's a couple guys that I reached on because I genuinely believe in their talent, and they've got almost a decade left in the league. Like Elijah Moore. I believe in his talent, and if it hits, I've got a really good wide receiver for a decade.
And you didn't spend a lot either.
Right.
It's the value of players like that have an undisclosed ceiling that they could just completely go nuclear. It might take a few years, but you spent nothing on them.
Right.
So it's very much worth the pick.
Speaking of advice, every Sunday during the season, you'll be able to find me live on our Fantasy Dudes Instagram at those Fantasy Dudes doing start sit decisions. If you've got roster questions, if you're thinking, well, I want to make this trade move, just stop in. I'm more than happy to give my opinion on it. And if it's something that's really thought provoking, we might talk about it on the show here with John and really do a little bit of a deep dive on it. So make sure you stop in. That's every Sunday morning before the games kick off. I'll be there answering start sit decisions and hanging out.
And if no one joins, I'll be there. I'll gladly join from work. The dogs can wait.
That's true.
I shoot dogs for a living with a camera, to clarify. But
yeah, important clarification.
And I'll just talk shit about Jake's team. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to say Elijah Moore sucks.
Well, see, I don't like that, and I don't think you're allowed. But
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the login to the Instagram. I can just change the password and kick you off but I wouldn't do that. That's ridiculous. Yeah, but if you're not able to join Jake, you can always send questions to thosefantasydudes@gmail.com or go on our website via our contact page and go ahead and send questions through there. We want to answer them on the show once the season starts. That's going to be quite fun.
I mean, that's really what this is. This is an extension of John and I talking about fantasy. Really, that's that
Yes.
we have these same conversations, and we want to help you. People will message both of us separately, family and friends, and ask for advice because we're into it, and we want to extend that to other people, and hopefully people like it and they're interested, and we want to help. So really reach out if you've got a question, and or just comment on one of our posts where one of us is always
please.
down to respond and give our thoughts.
We're on Instagram the most at Those Movie Dudes. So check us out on there. And please, if you're on
Dudes, not
Facebook
Those Movie Dudes.
Did I say Those Movie Dudes?
You said Those Movie Dudes. Yeah, I know it's just a brain thing, but you did say Those Movie Dudes.
Well, I mean, speaking of Those Movie Dudes, that is my other podcast. Go ahead and check that out. We have new episodes, new release films on Tuesdays, and our other main show where we talk about two films that have something very similar about them, but maybe very different on the surface on Fridays. So go ahead and check that out at Those Movie Dudes if you want. But this podcast is very important. Very important. Every single Wednesday, we will have a new episode. Next week, we're going to be talking about our Keeper League and potentially our Redraft League. So go ahead and join us for that next Wednesday.
Is that it? We done? We out?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks for tuning in to Those Fantasy Dudes podcast. Make sure to tune in next week and follow us at Those Fantasy Dudes on Instagram.